Next item, please, Vicki.
Item C, adopt resolution approving the installation of new stop signs at the intersection of San Mateo Avenue and Jenevein Avenue.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Tonight, I will be presenting 3 separate items which were previously brought to the city's Traffic Safety and Parking Committee, otherwise known as TSPC. The TSPC reviews traffic matters brought to the committee by staff after staff evaluation is completed, and then the committee provides the recommendation. And once the recommendation is made by the TSPC, these items are brought to the council for consideration and approval. So this first item in front of you tonight is regards to the proposed new stop sign at the intersection of Jenevein and San Mateo Avenue. The San Mateo Avenue is the core of city's downtown, which consists of shops, restaurants, and other type of businesses, and provides safe travel. And providing a safe travel path for patrons coming to downtown is important to the city. And along the entire stretch of San Mateo Avenue, there are only 2 traffic signals, one at the intersection of San Mateo Avenue and San Bruno, and the other at San Mateo and Huntington Avenue. In addition, there are some stop control at the intersection of San Mateo and Keynes, and San Mateo and Angus, and at San Mateo and Sylvan. However, the one intersection that currently doesn't have a stop control or traffic signal is at the intersection of San Mateo and Jenevein, and this intersection is one of the locations often used by vehicles and pedestrians to access the downtown. Staff received a request to evaluate the installation of an all-way stop at the intersection, and in order to determine whether the stop signs can be installed, staff reviewed the criteria for implementation of a multi-way stop based on the California Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Device to determine whether it meets the criteria. The vehicle volumes and collision histories were reviewed and determined that the data collected does not meet the requirement for an all-way stop. Although the data doesn't meet the requirements, MUTCD allows the installation of a stop control to control vehicle and pedestrian conflicts near locations that generate high level of pedestrian activity, such as in the downtown corridor, to prevent any potential accidents. Pedestrian safety study was completed by engineering firm TJKM for San Mateo Avenue that concluded that this intersection experienced significantly higher volumes of pedestrian traffic. So staff is evaluated and recommended to install the stop control at this intersection, and which was presented to the TSPC, and it was accepted. And staff is here tonight to obtain council's approval to convert the intersection at this intersection to an all-way stop control, as the council retains the authority to do that. So this concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for staff?
Chair?
Mr. Salazar.
Jimmy, can you elaborate on why this item came forward? Was there a specific concern, that prompted us to look at the intersection?
Yeah, so normally we receive requests from residents, and so this was one of the locations that we received, and through that we had to evaluate it as part of the city's, the process for receiving the request.
So do you know off the top of your head, did the request come from just someone who happens to walk downtown a lot, or was it a business owner? Do we know?
It was a resident.
It was a
yes.
resident. Okay. And what did we find from the pedestrian study in terms of numbers of pedestrians?
So, I'm glad I brought this with me here. So, the pedestrian study indicated that there are 3 locations that experienced really high volumes. One was at the mid-block crossing of Angus and Sylvan, and the other was this intersection, and the other was at the mid-block crossing between Cypress Court and El Camino, reaching at Cypress and Camino. So this crossing, it states that there were 141 east-west crossings over the peak hours.
Okay, and then the current stop sign is for traffic approaching San Mateo, but not
That's correct.
flowing across San Mateo. And so do we anticipate any impact on the traffic then going down San Mateo if cars are forced to stop even without pedestrians in the area?
I don't anticipate that at all, because there's really, the cars are relatively driving really slow in through the area, and then nowadays, without the stop sign being there, cars are normally slowing down to to ensure that they don't hit oncoming traffic, vehicles coming through the Jenevein as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Other questions from council? Irene?
Oh, not a question, just a comment. I've used that intersection many times, often 3 or 4 times a day. And part of the problem with that, I think, is that people aren't sure if they're supposed to stop or not. And so you see them hesitating, and then you see people behind them getting upset, and then you see people trying to go left or right, and then all things kind of jumble up. So I think this is a great solution. I think it'll, after an initial learning period where people realize yes, they really do have to stop, it'll smooth out what happens, and I believe pedestrians will also, I personally, will also feel safer crossing knowing that people are supposed to stop. So unless there's...
Any other comments from council? If not,
Okay.
we have a resolution.
I will introduce the resolution.
Vicki?
Councilmember O'Connell,
Aye.
Councilmember Medina,
Aye.
Councilmember Salazar,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Davis,
Aye.
Mayor Medina.
Aye.